Your near-death experience, I would like
Yeah.
What about that? Is it a near-death experience?
Sure.
It's an NDE.
Yeah. I mean, technically, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it is because you thought you were going to die.
Yeah.
You were on a... Did you see a tunnel? Phil Phails for you.
No, I made a lot of inappropriate and dark jokes.
While you're having it?
Well, I mean, the morphine's fantastic.
It's called Gallows humor.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
I brought it with me. I did not leave the gallows behind. So,
yeah. You almost died.
I did, yeah.
Did you have an event where you were at the precipice of death and they like brought you back, or was it more like you're going to die in weeks unless you make some big changes?
So that's hard. So like the big picture, I found out I had a aortic stenosis or a bicuspid valve. So I'm going to show you this is what a tricuspid valve looks like when it's working in your heart.
It's like two valves with one thing in the middle.
So it's 3 leaves that kind of open and close together.
Okay.
I only had 2
to make one valve.
Yeah.
And you only had 2
I
of
only
them.
had 2. So two leaves doing the work of 3.
Oh, so it's working
harder.
Overtime.
Yeah. So basically they told me over time your heart's gonna deteriorate.
You get less miles on that bad boy.
Correct. So I chose, track as the logical option for a sport. And
track was the best for your heart?
No. They didn't want me to do anything. I told them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah. You needed to move.
That's right. So at 14 I found that out, and they did the Cath lab. Basically, they went in through my femoral artery to go take some actual pictures of my heart.
Yeah.
By the way, if your feet are ticklish, so is the inside of your heart.
No way.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
You got tickled up there?
Yeah. It feels like your heart just kind of goes and then goes back to beating normally. Like it just stutters for a moment. It feels terrible. So I was awake for that. And then they patched me up, and they're like, they didn't do anything. They just
looked at it.
They looked at it.
Exploratory.
They decided it was not worth the risk to do, I forget what it's called, but take a balloon and stretch and try to tear the valve open a little bit so it'll work more effectively.
Yeah.
They're like, never mind. It's not worth the risk. We want to wait as long as possible to do anything further because we want technology to get better.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm 14. They're like, you will need something before 30 or you will die.
Whoa.
And basically,
like, thanks, Doc.
Yeah. So they put this cloud over my shoulders for 2 decades. I had to do, they're like, you can go do PE. Like, I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
I'm going to do sports.
Yeah.
And like, I'm going to do this with or without you.
Not only sports, I'm going to do it at a high level.
I'm going to aim for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, the next step was I had to do a stress test, a cardiac stress test. So they put me on a treadmill, and at every 3 minutes it gets steeper, and they're at this speed where you can't run or jog or walk. You're kind of in this in between, so you can't easily do it. And they were basically trying to push my heart till I either had a cardiac event or enough data to say I'm okay. And every year I got stronger and stronger and stronger. And so, like, I mean, let him compete.
Your heart got stronger.
Mm-hmm. And then...
so they were cool with it.
Until I graduated.
Guy at it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then moved to Texas, found a new cardiologist who I love. Like, great. Lets me advocate for myself. Like, we work together to come up with a plan. And huge in helping me live the lifestyle I wanted. And then 1 year, this was COVID, 2020.
You're 30.
35.
And they were like, when you were 14,
34.
they said you need to do something before 30 or you're going to die.
Yeah. So basically...
So you're at this, like, I'm at the end of my lifespan.
Yeah. Basically...
If you're at 30...
Well, so yeah,
what you were told, at least.
I hit 30, and I was still
like,
smoking people.
Am I going to die?
And they're like, all your numbers look great. Your heart's still holding up, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you have a heart murmur, but that's expected.
Yeah.
But everything was like, you have no restrictions except don't lift heavy. I wasn't lifting heavy.
Were
yet.
you just? Are you just doing everything they tell you not to do? James?
Correct.
You're
Yes.
like,
Yeah. My therapist.
don't exercise. Well, I'm gonna be a freaking track.
Yeah. No
scholarship.
So that
don't
also,
lift heavy. I'm gonna
that is
lift.
an ADHD thing. So that is.
Don't tell me what to do.
I call it spite fueled. I'm spite fueled. You tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then my therapist is like, so that's called contrarianism.
Contrarianism.
That's the term I'd like
You're
you to
a
use.
contrarian.
Yes. So that's the proper term. I like spite fueled better. But yeah, so I noticed around 33, that's when it really started to hit that something was off. Like I was still doing all the same things I was doing. I was rock climbing, but all of a sudden
You were lifting?
I wasn't lifting much. I was more doing
Not like you lift now.
Yeah, I was doing more calisthenic, gymnastic rings kind of work.
Okay.
So it was body weight. I was only about 160 at the time.
Okay.
So it's like all body weight, all kind of thinking more about life as a rock climber. And I
indoor bouldering?
Yeah.
Or were you outdoor stuff?
Only bouldering. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Once I moved to Texas, it was just indoor.
Yeah.
So it's too spicy here. It's too hot to go outside.
Yeah, it's true.
So I was climbing and doing laps on a wall, and all of a sudden I just felt wrong. And I came down the wall.
What was wrong? What did wrong feel like? What was that? In your body?
I was working, I was trying to climb until failure. And it just felt like my body was getting away from me.
Your body was getting
like
away from you.
my mind was losing connection with my body, which now I would know is like I was getting lightheaded. So it was just like everything started feeling distant. This had to be 2020. So just before COVID. When COVID came out, I had my cardiologist appointment, had this conversation about like how I'm feeling. I would have been 34 at the time, I think. And my cardiologist is like, well, it's now time to start talking about surgery. And I'm like, well, I mean, it was just one thing. I could have been sick. It could have been this. It could have been that. It could have been a number of things. He goes, no, with this virus going around, when they talk about the comorbidity.
COVID?
Yes. If you get it, you will die.
Really?
Yeah. So it became a conversation of you go into quarantine.
Why would you die from COVID? How did it impact the heart?
Stress on the heart.
It would be stressful on the heart.
And they're like, you're already kind of past where we want you.
Yeah, they said 30. You're at what, 34?
34. Yeah. So then the conversation became like, you need a vaccine.
Okay.
You need the vaccine.
Right.
Because if you go through the surgery and survive, you do not want to get COVID while you're recovering.
Right.
Because it may not kill you anymore, but you'll wish it does. As like the pain and the suffering you were going to endure with, cracked sternum.
What was the surgery?
Open heart surgery. So
what were they going to do to you, open heart?
Good question.
Add another leaf in there?
No, I'm part cow, actually.
Oh yeah, we talked about this in workout.
Yeah. So I'm part cow. They cut my chest open.
You want some grass?
Yeah, yeah. I came to Austin and I refused to be like a UT fan. And they said, fuck you, yes you are.
Now you're part Longhorn.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So they opened me up. They cut me open, spread your chest open.
Yeah.
I'm asleep for all this.
Yeah, of course.
And if you want photos, I can send them to you.
Oh my God. They got photos?
I got photos, yeah.
What kind of Hellraiser scrapbook do you have?
I mean, I like it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you can't really see like the ribs open. They have it
Oh,
protected,
God,
but
no.
you can see into my chest.
Yes.
So
okay.
they replaced my aortic valve with a 29 millimeter bovine valve. And then they replaced about 5 inches of my ascending aorta because this is what the real danger was. Not necessarily the valve failing. I had a massive ascending aorta aneurysm. And that's what they were concerned with.
They gave you cow parts.
For part of it, yeah. The other part's synthetic tubing.
Okay.
So
they gave you synthetic tubing and cow
so I'm
parts.
part cyborg cow.
You're a human cow cyborg.
That's right. Yeah.
Now in my mind, I'm like creating this cool character, anime character.
That's right. Yeah.
I'll give you horns, probably.
Perfect.
Cow horns.
Yeah. Little minotaur kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
So all that. The aneurysm was the kind of the scary part. That was the thing that was the risk. The valve, it's like, well, you're not really experiencing super dangerous valve related issues, but this massive aneurysm, if you apply enough pressure to it, it will rupture and you will die in pain.
Ooh.
And so the word aneurysm was the big one that was when the fear really hit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I've waited for years to hear that word. They're like, you will get an aneurysm. This isn't something you're going to skip.
That was the fatal blow on what you had was an aneurysm, which is a blood clot reaching the heart?
No.
Is that an aneurysm?
An aneurysm is a weakening of the lining of the wall of the artery. So it's like if you've got layers of tissue, it's like it just starts peeling up and gets thinner and thinner. And if it ruptures, you now have an open
the blood
hole
just goes into your body.
And you're talking about the giant route that all the blood that goes out to your limbs and extremities travels through. So
it's the worst place to have one.
You're talking 30 to 60 seconds till dead.
Oof.
And so it was like this trigger word that sent me spiraling. And then it's like, I've got to avoid every living person because if I get COVID, I die. So I basically had that whole year until I got an oh, and I even skipped a part. The day before I found all this out, I was max testing. I was squatting.
You're doing your 1 rep maxes?
The day before.
What'd you squat? How much you bench? How much you bench?
So my squat the day before, this is a long time ago. My squat was, I had just hit 305.
305?
305 for the first time since college.
Man, that's good.
I had 160. So I wasn't too sad about that. 305 on squat at 160.
At your weight was
Correct.
160.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So
that's really good.
Felt pretty good considering I had a coin flip of killing myself.
More than 2 times your body weight.
Not quite. 320 would have been twice my body weight.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so I have the video, that specific video of that lift where I'm just cocky as hell. And
then life was like, down, boy.
Yeah. Take it down a notch, kid.
It's like, be humble.
That's right. So yeah, there's a whole surgery. We can talk about the actual process of the surgery if you'd like.
I don't think these people care to know about that, but if you want to, I would listen to it.
It just from the perspective of future diagnoses.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell this as dramatic as I can. I'm going to be a storyteller. All right. So here I am sitting in my chair. They're getting me prepped. By the way, they shaved up here. So I had these weird like racing stripes in my leg hair because they needed access to my veins. Oof. And they're telling me all this stuff. I'm getting to know people very intimately as they, cater to my needs.
In your nether regions and whatnot. Yeah.
And I've got my shot of morphine and whatever else was in that magical cocktail.
You
awesome.
Took this? It was good?
I did not have a choice.
Sweet juice.
It was delicious.
You felt euphoria?
I felt wonderful.
You did?
Yeah.
You didn't mind all the stuff that was going on?
No, everyone was my friends. Like I send them Christmas cards. But just on the other side of this sheet is another guy getting the same procedure and we're cracking up.
Y'all goofing off.
Yeah, I mean, we're both high as fuck. Yeah. And is swearing okay?
I mean, yeah, why not?
I've been doing it. I didn't ask. Are you okay with it?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I swear.
Okay, I'm just making sure because
I swear. Austin Public Access, the TV station, swearing is okay now, even during the daytime.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, I can mind my mouth.
You were high as fuck.
I was high as fun at the time.
Yeah, he was high as fun.
And so he and I go in for our surgery at the same time. I go into the operating room.
What is this, a budget surgery?
No,
You're like,
not the
what
same
did y'all
room,
get? Like
the same room.
Buy two, get one for like 2-for-1 deal or something?
Have you looked at American Insurance?
You're like,
come on.
You're like on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. Anybody need a heart surgery? I need a +1.
They've got a special on cow valves.
Yeah. They have, what do they have? Like 3 hearts? We just need 2 more people.
That's right. So no, he had his own operating suite. I had mine. Went in. My surgeon came in, really awesome guy. Got to know him very well. Very great about like explaining everything, make sure I was fully aware, had full consent, whatever, informed consent of what I was going to go through.
Like, I want this cow. What kind of cow was it?
I don't know. Dead one.
What do you mean? I don't know. You're real nonchalant about knowing what kind of cows in your body. What's
never
the one all
ask.
the Hindus worship? I'd want one of those. I'd want a sacred cow heart.
Okay. Well, I just asked for the biggest one.
Oh, you just want a big one?
I wanted the max.
You're like a 5-year-old. I want a big one.
No, I wanted
a big heart.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to the surgery story. No, so we had options. I wanted to make sure I had.
You could have a big, medium. What is this, like Starbucks? You could have like a small, medium, large heart.
I wanted a Venti, Venti beef aortic valve.
You wanted a Venti beef?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So
with two squirts of.
The most common one that you'll get is a mechanical valve.
Oh,
I did not want Coumadin or warfarin for the rest of my life. That's an anticoagulant.
Okay, you gotta take that forever. It's forever. A medicine.
It's as far as technology goes right now. Once you go mechanical, that's it.
Because your body will forever want to fight that.
Yes,
and you got to tell your body down.
Yeah,
that thing's keeping us alive.
Correct.
This is robot heart. You would have
yes,
had.
Correct. And I would have a clicking forever.
Clicking?
Like you would hear an audible clicking.
Like,
if you and I were hugging, you would hear a clicking in my chest.
Like the crocodile from Peter Pan?
Yes, just like that.
We would know James is coming. Tick, 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 tick.
That's right.
James is coming.
So
everybody hide.
I've heard the click. I did not want to live with it. The people who have it say eventually you can't hear it anymore.
Yeah. You didn't want that click.
I didn't want that.
But is that like the best option? Is that like the premier?
No.
It's not.
It's an option.
Okay.
So it's kind of pros and cons. I wanted the valve that was going to give me the most, the closest life to what I wanted, which is active. And warfarin and Coumadin did not play with that.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, we're going to look at biological valves. And it's like, okay, you've got porcine and you got bovine, or pork and
you get a
beef.
pig or you get a beef.
Either way,
cow.
There's
no monkey hearts?
No monkey hearts. No.
What was that movie? You remember that movie, Pump Up the Volume? Didn't that dude have a monkey heart?
I have no idea.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater?
That might be before me.
Okay. I'm 48, so it could be before you. It was old Christian Slater.
Okay.
Anyway, there was pig heart and there was cow heart. Those were your two choices.
And basically it came down to, we could get you a 29 millimeter heart valve, which is the biggest we can possibly go. And I said, done.
You got a choice of how big it was?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
I wanted as much space as possible. Plus that gives me more options in the future if I need further surgery.
James, if I were you, I would probably be like a kid that's an orphan kid.
Okay.
Or like that was adopted that at some point wants to like find their biological parents.
Okay.
I'd want to find this cow. I'd want to find the cow's family, to know where he was raised.
I have the identification number for my particular valve.
A number? What about his name?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I got to start somewhere.
Archie? Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
So I got the number. I could probably find out like the path of origin or at least the species.
Did they raise them just for heart?
I have no idea.
Heart farming? That's one heck of a heart.
I don't know.
That's one heck of a farm. We farm hearts here.
Yeah. No idea.
But with this number, you could perhaps find this cow.
Yeah.
You guys, if y'all know how to find cows, we want to know if this cow was a kind cow, a good cow. Was he a big, strong cow?
Yeah.
What was his demeanor like?
I don't know. I hope it was a nice cow.
Yeah, me too.
Came from a good home.
Yeah.
Gave his life for me.
He gave his life
or her.
Her.
No,
it could be a lady heart.
I don't know.
Are you more sensitive now?
Yeah, no.
That's a stereotype, y'all.
That's
a stereotype. Ladies are just as sensitive as men. Just depends on what's going on. But you might have a lady heart.
That's okay.
I could think of things I could say in the gym now if it is a lady heart. But you won't care.
No,
but it'll be fun.
I'll just give you more weight.
Yeah. I'm like, it's a man heart. No. I promise.
So, okay. So the surgery.
Yeah.
The first thing I remember waking up, they're pulling out the intubation tube. Okay. And
intubation means like put you down?
The tube that goes down so they can get air in and out. Because when they open you up, they are going to take you and put you on a bypass. So they stop my heart.
So they've got to give you air, give you air. They've got to breathe for you.
Yeah.
And that's what that does.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when they took that out, that's kind of the very first thing I remember. I woke up. I wasn't awake very long because I was apparently getting repeated transfusions. I was having internal bleeding.
Oof.
And so I don't remember exactly how much blood, but I had about 20 pounds of fluid retained in my stomach.
Oof.
So that was my first 24 hours.
It was a 24-hour surgery?
No, the surgery was only about like 4 or 5. But before I became aware of the world was about 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
So they just basically kept me under until I was stable enough because I just kept bleeding.
Oh my God.
So
the surgery didn't go as planned. It wasn't like a best case scenario.
I've heard mixed things about my surgery. I've heard it was best possible outcome, not best case scenario, like in recovery. So,
okay.
So first thing that happens when I actually wake up and I'm starting to like the clouds lifting.
Right.
The very first thing I noticed is I could no longer hear my own heartbeat in my head, which I had heard my whole life.
You heard your heartbeat and now I'm like wondering if I could hear my heartbeat in my head.
So it was loud, like all day, every day.
You could
forever.
hear
Yes.
Really?
And I never
I don't
thought
hear
to
my
ask.
heartbeat like that. Yeah.
Never thought to ask.
Y'all, close your eyes right now and tell me if you can hear your heartbeat. If you can hear your heartbeat, you comment. I want to know how many people out there can hear their heartbeat.
And you should
I
go
never
get your
could.
heart checked if you can.
That's a sign.
That's not a good thing.
Oh, it's not a good thing.
No, it's terrible.
That means it's like overworking or something?
It is, yeah.
So this was the first time you didn't hear your heart.
Correct.
So were you like, oh, shit, my heart's...
I had my very first anxiety attack.
Because your heart, you couldn't hear your heart?
So I assumed like I could hear the beeps of the machine. I could feel, blood pressure cuff and everything. And I'm like, but my heart's not beating. I can't feel it. I can't hear it. I started ripping at all the things that were in my body.
No way.
And so they had to sedate me again.
Because you were ripping everything out?
I went to town and I got my first anti-anxiety meds. So,
oh my God.
So they had to sedate me. And now I am high again. And this is my first night post-surgery. I'm alone.
Aww.
I'm in recovery. And I can hear my neighbor from previously on the other side of the sheet.
He's done with his surgery too.
He's on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
I could hear him coughing and retching. And he was in excruciating pain.
Oof.
And I'm high, so it's not really like it took a long time for this to for me to piece it back together.
To register it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And therapy actually helped in this regard of like this is probably where my like some of my diagnoses sped up or became more prevalent.
Yeah.
But I was laying in bed listening to everything, and then all of a sudden he coded. And so it became the whole floor got very busy. It's on the other side of the wall from me. I can't move or do anything. I'm basically just listening to this man die. And it's become this kind of ingrained thing of I was a coin flip because there were so many things that could have gone wrong, kind of went wrong. I was, I needed regular blood transfusion. They couldn't figure out why I hadn't stopped bleeding. And then it still hadn't really registered. Like I was aware he's not there anymore, but it hasn't really registered that it means he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
And they,
oh my God.
Once that was all settled, Brandon, my nurse, came in and was like, hey man, it's time for your lap around the floor. You have to get up and move. And so they got me out of bed. They got me my little walker. They're walking me around and I look in and room spotless, empty. And
where the guy
my neighbor was. And so like it then became a kind of a trigger of like how close was I actually to dying? So when you say like, did you have a near-death experience? It's like, well, I don't remember the serious parts of it. But now I have this equation of it could have just as easily been me.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of my, now the term I have for it is medical PTSD. So
yeah, medical PTSD is definitely a thing.
Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I was like, when that term started getting thrown around, I was like, nah, that doesn't make sense. And then like, a new primary doctor was talking to me about it. And she's like, I want to recommend you to someone who is a medical PTSD specialist.
Yeah.
And once I started working with this new person, I'm like, one, she's amazing. And two, I'm like, oh, that now all these pieces are starting to make sense. Why do I suddenly just have anxiety attacks? I would carry a blood pressure cuff with me so I could test my blood pressure if ever I'm just like, is my heart taking off? Am I gonna have an event? I lift heavy now.
Yeah,
I chose a stupid sport.
Yeah, you did.
And I just kept pushing, and I'm like, I'm at these weights that it's like you should never exceed your body weight in these things. And I'm like, fuck that. Don't tell me what to do.
Contrarian.
Yes. So
what did you call it?
Spite fueled.
Spite fueled. He's spite fueled.
That's right.
That's
what
the cow likes.
It's a big mood. So yeah, I got into a sport that basically is every time I get under the bar or pick it up, there's a chance I could die.
Well, I imagine like given your diagnosis at 14, you've been with your mortality in a way that most of us aren't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think it's helpful to contemplate death.
Yeah.
In order to live. But I haven't had an event, knock on wood. Hopefully I won't have an event that like takes me to the precipice to where I really feel the fragility of this life.
Yeah.
How thin the string is that holds me to the living.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it would be like to be with that mortality, that you basically got a ticking time clock from 14 to you got till 30. You got 16 years.
Yep.
If something doesn't happen. And then you have a surgery that's, I don't know, what is the percentage of success on those things?
Good.
It's high.
So in my case, because of age, granted, a lot of people were confused as to why I would need the surgery. It's so young, and I'd have to tell them the story. Most of the people getting the surgery are in their 60s.
But you were 30 something, so you're strong.
Yes.
And you're strong too.
Yeah. And
strong because your age.
They gave me credit for the stupid thing I did to stay in shape that could have killed me, helped me get the best possible outcomes.
Yeah, because you were healthy.
So
resilient.
Yeah. So then as I got stronger, I kept pushing my limits, and they're like, hey, you should really stop. I gave them the finger. The surgeon and cardiologists are great, and they've been very kind to my attitude that I sometimes come in with. But it was 6 months after my surgery, I was pulling 315 for deadlift for the first time since college or however long. And I was doing it for sets of 6 and no pressure, no blackout, no anything. My surgeon is like, all your restrictions are gone. Don't die. Don't come back.
Y'all, 315 pounds is heavy for a deadlift. That's pretty heavy.
It's got some heft.
Let me see what I'm going to look at what my 1 rep max is. And you were doing 6?
Yeah.
So that means your 1 rep max would be a percentage above that, right?
Yeah. At that time, if I wasn't really pushing 1 rep because I wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
That was please, we really, really don't want you doing that.
Yeah.
I've since ignored that, which upsets family.
Yeah.
But that probably put me around 365 for my max at the time.
Heck yeah. My 1 rep max on deadlift is 345.
We're going to get it higher.
We are going to get it higher.